Hi, I'm Jordan North, and in today's episode, Tina left her lighty on for me.
No likey, no lighty.
As we get married in the happiest place on earth.
Duck beer for me, duck beer for you. I want to get off.
I meant Helsinki in Finland, not hell itself. Before we get started, tervetuloa kaikki suomalaiset katsojat.
Tervetuloa kaikki suomalaiset katsojat.
I promise I'll try not to butcher your language anymore, as I have been trying to learn it, and I can't even pronounce anything properly, even if I try. So why did we choose Finland? Well, first of all, Jim, there's no need to be that nosy.
Jim, hello.
What the hell are you doing there?
We're just doing walkies, aren't we?
And because we both loved visiting Helsinki a couple years ago, and I had this master plan to propose to Tina on this beautiful bridge to this historic island, which is where we actually ended up having the wedding itself. I'd bought the ring, I'd booked the holiday, and she had no idea. And a week before we were supposed to go, the UK went into the first lockdown because of the old Rona. So I did the most romantic thing I could think of instead, proposing to her in my boxers while she played Animal Crossing. Some say Tom Nook even shed a tear for the first time that day. So now I've got you all up to speed, I'll get on with it. In preparation for the trip, I got all the film I wanted to take, organised it all, put it in a Ziploc bag, all ready to be extremely carefully hand-checked by Heathrow's excellent airport security. I even wrote warning labels in both English and Finnish for both legs of the journey there and back. We then finished packing, much to the dismay of our backwards dog and danger noodles. We then headed to a hotel at the airport the night before, as we live ages away and we had a super early flight specifically so our film could be handled with the utmost care. I mean, at least the hotel had a super sucky ice cream machine.
This is how I use the dog house. So at the airport, we went through security about 5 AM and it was basically empty except for us and one other couple. As I mentioned before, we planned it so that we didn't have to bug them too much to check our film. So I confidently but politely asked the guy at security if he could hand check my film, and surprisingly he was about to, until his manager, who had just barged into some people moments prior, Tokyo drifted round the corner, grabbed the bag off of him and said they couldn't hand check it. So I politely pointed out the sign next to me that said they could hand check film over 800 ISO, but she wasn't having any of it and demanded that their scanners were safe enough for that kind of film. So I just sort of had to cross my fingers as I had no other choice and hope that the film didn't get too damaged, which is one of the reasons why in this video you might see some of the shots are stupid grainy, and it's probably because they're around the front of the roll that got scanned the most. So believe me, I did try and do my best to save some of these shots, but some of them were just fogs beyond repair. Just as a note, when my bag did get pulled to be checked, the security guard was super friendly, so I'm not having a go at everyone there. The moral of this story is, don't take film through Heathrow, as they will not hand check it. Even if you think they might, it's not worth the risk. Just buy your film at the destination and bring it back through whatever airport you're traveling home in, as they will 99% of the time just hand check it, because other airports do, like they did in Helsinki on the way back. Anyway, once in the terminal and after a stag do t-shirt surprise from our best men Brian and Ramel, we boarded our plane, where Ramel instantly fell asleep before we'd even started taxiing.
Fucking cheek.
Concord.
Still hanging around. Get out of here, dude. It's gonna be here any second, man. You gotta get out of here.
And then we took off. Of course I bought the loud ass piece on the plane. We then landed in a foggy but stunning Finland. And headed to our hotel, which again I'm not going to try and pronounce the name of, as my Finnish essentially stretches to Tuumakissa. Arriving to a really sweet surprise in our hotel room.
We then ended the day by everyone going to town for dinner and mandatory embarrassing birthday gifts.
You're a very special little boy, and it's a very special kind of day. Oh wait, I should do the so Jordan, happy first from Xi Jinping. The Chinese government. Xi Jinping.
Oh my god.
I didn't realize you fucking translated it.
Jesus Christ. Oh, he just made this. Oh my god.
Do you know about
The next morning we woke up early to travel on an adventure north to the city of Tampere, on what I can only describe as the Green Dream Chode Machine.
What are you doing in my swamp? Dance.
Sticking out like the painfully unironic British tourists we were, we sprinted full pace to the camera nerd's version of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, Kamerastore. After calming down from my existential crisis just from seeing the sign, we awkwardly knocked on the door and entered. I don't have much footage from inside the store, for the same reason I'd sincerely like to thank the amazing staff there. I'm ridiculously awkward. Which Harry wasn't afraid to constantly remind me of every time I opened my mouth during the trip. You might be thinking to yourself, huh, that's cool and all, Jordan, but other than trying to break the lockdown habit of living vicariously through Matthias Stern's videos, why did you go all that way? Basically, Tina needed a camera upgrade, as she was and still is getting really into film photography, as you can tell from the last video. We also ran out of time to go last time we were in Finland, so we thought we'd go this time and get her a camera from the best camera store in Europe. Some, including myself, might even go as far as to say the world. So, what camera did you get?
I got the Canon AE-1 with the 15mm lens.
Okay, robot, thank you. Off you go. Thanks, babe. So after buying that and being told a story by the mad lad serving us about his trip to London and how he ended up in a drug lord's apartment somehow, we said bye, or as he so graciously put it, goodbye in it, and we squeezed into a lift to head down to one of my favourite parts of the trip, which admittedly is sad, I know, a film vending machine. I grabbed a couple different rolls of film as I was still really worried about the rolls we bought out being damaged by the X-ray machine. And with that bucket item ticked off my list, we headed into some shops.
Duckman. Target.
Where we found an advert Ramel had made, so I forced him to take a photo in front of it. And tried to head back to Helsinki to set up stuff at the venue for the wedding, which is when we found out the hard way there was no tickets left as we hadn't pre-booked them. And unlike here in the UK, they don't force people into trains like cattle. So while we waited at McDonald's for our next train, Tina took her first photo on her new camera. And when we finally got back to Helsinki and we'd sorted the wedding stuff out, we went out again in the evening so Tina could try out her camera more. I know they're a bit shaky and blurry from the shutter speed being too low, but hey, give her a break, she was still learning how to use this camera. As this was a big day, I didn't have a chance to get too much footage, other than Harry making friends with a red squirrel. As I was a bit preoccupied, although I will still show some of the amazing shots our wedding photographer took to fill in the gaps a bit. I'll put his links down in the description down below, so please have a look at his stuff and check him out. And I'll also link the website we made for all the photos and the full video, as I can't show it fully here or the YouTube gods might smite me with the copyright ban hammer. But with all of that said, here are some of the highlights.
And I never thought I'd feel this way, the way I feel about you. As soon as as I wake up, every night, every day, I know that it's you I need to take the blues away. It must be love, love, love. It must be love, love, love. Nothing more, nothing less. Love is the best. How can it be that we can say so much without words?
Here, are you going to talk?
Bless you and bless me. Bless the bees and the birds. I've got to be near you every night, every day.
And then myself and Tina walked back to the hotel as it was a gorgeous sunset and golden hour that we just couldn't miss out on.
It must be love, love, love. It must be love, love, love. Nothing more, nothing less. Love is the best. Every night, every day.
Keep on going, keep on going. 1, 2.
And once we got back to the hotel, we engaged in the dirtiest wedding tradition of them all, eating overpriced hotel food and watching movies.
You dirty, dirty bastard.
As this was our last day with Brian and Ramel, we decided to go on an impromptu adventure eastwards to see the numerous underground bunkers we'd heard so much about. As we were walking towards the first bunker, I utterly cocked up and flicked the mirror lockup switch, which is therefore when you're doing long exposure and you don't want the camera shaking from the mirror slapping it. So trying not to completely waste a shot, I aimed my camera roughly at a decent enough looking rock and tried my best. And to be fair, it actually came out alright considering, and then Tina saw some trees she liked next to it. When we got to the first bunker, which was a sick go-karting track, we essentially had to turn right back round as we hadn't pre-booked the tickets again. I swear I'm not that dumb. I mean, I still got 2 quick shots. So on our way to the next bunker, we stopped off at some locations we'd spotted earlier to get some pics. But not before Harry and Ramel decided they wanted to almost kill themselves hiking up and down a really tall hill, just cause. And then, of course, just to annoy the others even more, I saw an abandoned building site I just couldn't miss out on.
Biggest fan.
And I'm married to him. Way!
We then arrived at the underground pool, which we only popped in too quickly as we had no swimwear with us. And sorry there's no proper video or photos, I could only keep my phone out for a couple seconds before it'd steam up because it was stupidly humid in there, but believe me, it looked sick.
Well, it is what it is!
Then we headed back to town to our favourite burger joint, Friends and Burgers. And just like that, we said goodbye to Brian and Ramel as they had a flight really early the next morning. And it's also time for me to say goodbye for this part 1 of 2.
I know this one was a bit all over the place, but I mean, anyone who's had a wedding knows how mental it can be, let alone in another country after being trapped at home for a year and a half. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my Patreon if you haven't already, as the next parts of this video will be up about half a weekish early on Thursday, I think, along with all the other stuff you can get on there anyway, if you want to help out, that is. All the links to everything I've mentioned in the video are down below. Consider absolutely decimating that subscribe and bell button so you find out when the next video comes up. And so you can find out what's in that box.
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
These nuts.
No!
Or not. I don't know. I'm not a fucking wizard. Right, should we try that again?
Yeah.
So, what camera did you get?
Well, Jordan.
Jesus Christ, I wasn't expecting that.